Workshop, I hope, it's really an introduction. I'm not going to go into crazy detail on things that could go over your head. You're all at different levels. But I want to just introduce you to what you can do with chatbots. There's different types of chatbots, and really you're going to just get an overview of the power of them with this and a couple of implementations of free software that you can get. So you'll be able to run with this after you leave, basically. So just going to give you a quick introduction. This is about audience building to some degree. So there's two sides to chatbots. One is engagement and one is conversion. So if you look at the average email open rates, if you just take a read of this, they're hovering around 10 to 20%, which is pretty good still. Email is still a very powerful channel, but it's harder to get them opt-ins now. So it's harder to cut through the noise and get people to actually open emails. So there is a better way. Chatbot currently have these statistics, 60 to 80% open rates, huge click-through rates, and customer interactions are going to be dealt with by chatbots in the future. Sorry, I'm a bit nervous again. Sorry about this. It is the microphone. It's freaking me out. To be honest, I'm used to doing workshops and just talking normally. This is throwing me a little bit. Let me just calm down. Okay, sectors making the most out of chatbots. Every sector really is making the most out of chatbots, but SMEs are really working well. Real estate, travel, education, healthcare and finance, so fintech. So I just want to go through, this is the kind of what you're going to actually take away here. So we're going to look through some of the creative and common uses of chatbots, introduce you to ManyChat, which I think is a fantastic build for most people. Quick workshop on welcome message and using keywords to kind of automate some replies so people know what you're asking, etc. And you can give them some feedback and content based on what the keywords are. And then we're going to just look at a slide in Facebook Messenger call to action that can pull them to your own bot and allow you to converse with them further. So this is quite an interesting aspect that I've realised more as I've got into marketing for the last nearly 20 years. I was thinking about the kind of top innovations that have been occurring for 150 years. And if you actually look at all those, I'm just going to ask a question at the end. You're all aware of all these guys and these innovations, but what do you think the kind of main benefit to humanity has been after the emergence of these tools and technologies? Anybody want to give me kind of an answer?
Smartphone.
Pardon?
Smartphone.
Next evolution. No, I'm more talking about what has been the max benefit to humanity based on these innovations. So the reality is it's communication. That's what's really, all those tools there have given us the ability to communicate quicker, easier, faster. That's really what they've done, nothing more. So we are always innovating to communicate. It's what we do as humans. We love to talk, and we've now become, so just my background, sorry, I've been working as a digital marketing manager. Have you taken a photo of that one? Did you want to take a photo?
I did.
Did you do it? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Just a quick background to myself. I've been head of marketing for some large financial companies, education technology companies, and I've consulted through a lot of companies on SEO, paid advertising, Facebook marketing, video production, social media. There's ways to connect here at the bottom. I'm actually running a webinar on this topic to expand on it after. And all you're going to need to do is go to mastering.link, Messenger-CY. You'll see an option to sign up there, and that'll be a more in-depth kind of webinar based on this. So, and I'm also starting a podcast which you might find interesting. It's going to be actually talking to some leaders in the marketing sector about growth and some of the business issues and some of the kind of difficulties of running a business, not just marketing. So it's going to expand on some of the kind of problems with scaling a business. So we're now in a kind of a sector called conversational marketing. This is where we are and where we're going to be for probably the next 10 years minimum. I don't see many things changing apart from this getting more sophisticated and people getting more used to conversational marketing. We haven't got time to talk a lot. We're bombarded by emails, but we want quick answers. Everything's on demand. We've got Bolt taxis, we've got Airbnb. We're in control of the demand now. It's a very different marketplace. So the emergence of chatbots is clear to everybody. Has everybody used a chatbot or understands what chatbots are? Yeah, okay. Like I said, the main reason to consider a chatbot is audience building, lead generation, and early stage nurturing. And in my opinion, early stage nurturing is kind of one of the most important parts, when you start to learn about your audience first and you start to give content and build that value and trust to people. So we're going to focus on Facebook Messenger. There are other messenger chatbots, I'll just introduce them to you. But what is a chatbot? This is a perceived wisdom of what a chatbot is. I don't have any reason to question it. We all know what a chatbot is. It allows you to have a conversation by auditory or textual methods. It's trying to simulate how a text-based conversation would have. Clearly, people know a lot of it's automated. That's not really an issue there. So what you'll need to actually achieve what we're going to do with ManyChat is you'll need a Facebook business page, a website. It's WordPress-based site examples here, very easy to use. Probably all of you use WordPress for your front-facing websites. A ManyChat free account. There is a paid account. Again, I'm not going to go into the details on the paid account because it gets a little bit complicated, but it does open up a lot of options, particularly for advertising and just some more fancy features like taking payments, which is a really good option for certain people. Some kind of offer is a really important ideal situation to have. You don't need an offer, but if you've got an offer, it's always good to get people to feel like you're giving them something and that they build that trust up in an early stage kind of communication. So just, if you want to just take this, I've just mentioned it, but that's where you're going to get the intro video to what we're talking about here. It's the installation of the Pixel and an invitation to the webinar that I want to just expand on. If this interests you, this isn't long enough for us to talk about a lot of the kind of cool features here. So anyway, we're going to move on. So this is the type of chatbots that you probably face with, and you might not know what they are, and you're just assuming everybody has a Messenger, Facebook Messenger chatbot. But there's actually a couple of very big players in the market called Drift and Intercom. Does anybody know Drift or Intercom by any chance? Anybody at all? No?
Intercom?
Yeah. You know Intercom, yeah? Do you use Intercom?
Several times, but it was long years ago.
Okay, well, both Drift and Intercom have come on leaps and bounds. We're not going to talk about these here because they're kind of enterprise level chatbots, but you can pretty much integrate your marketing and sales and your customer care with a chatbot like Drift or Intercom. It takes serious investment in terms of manpower, strategy, and money. Actually, it's not cheap, but it's extremely powerful. It can be your kind of frequently asked questions. You get a lot of business intelligence back from the data. So if you're integrating your CRM system into chatbots like Intercom or Drift, bearing in mind Facebook's a much more closed system. You're always linked to their rules and laws. So we're not going to cover the conversational chatbots of Drift and Intercom at the bottom. They're too complicated, but if you have a business that could benefit from perhaps investing those resources, the rewards are huge. The big companies are doing it. We're going to look at Facebook Messenger anyway. You do have options there. There's Mobile Monkey, which I tried personally. It's similar to ManyChat. I was not impressed by it. Something about it felt clunky, so I'm quite a big fan of ManyChat. So how can we use Facebook Messenger chatbot with your business? As we discussed, the world is now on demand. People expect answers. People expect to communicate with people instantaneously. It's not always possible for a business with low resources, staff, etc., yet people are going to land on your website 24/7. One of the great things that marketing teams can do for sales is reduce the sales cycle. So typically we talk about touch points in sales, 7, 20, whatever. These are kind of the average times a business needs to sometimes touch a customer to make them convinced to do an action, for instance, buy or invest more time. It's not the same anymore, to be honest. People know what they want, and if there's somebody there to help them with the answer, it can convince them to go with you as a company if you're giving them the right answer and information. And a chatbot can do that quite well for certain sectors. So if we look, we've had kind of 4 evolutions of messaging. We've had the internet chat evolution, which was not so long ago, mobile SMS evolution, smartphone business evolution, and these are all text-based ways of communicating. We've become programmed effectively. We're programmed to text. It's the way we prefer to actually talk en masse throughout our day. So we have this internet chat evolution initially. Probably people remember these tools that have kind of gone a bit obsolete now. I wasn't particularly using them, but obviously Skype and MSN Messenger has embedded itself into our psyches for the last 20 plus years.
IRQ.
Who?
IRQ.
I don't
That was
know.
one of the
Was it?
first.
Were you an early adopter?
Yes.
Okay, I'll add that one. IOQ. IRQ.
R.
Oh right, I didn't know it. No, I didn't know that one. Okay.
It's about already.
Was it to do with communities by any chance? Sorry, was it to do with communities by any chance? Because these are some of these broke out into kind of community-based.
I see that you have all the messenger, but you forgot the chat rooms, which started first.
Yeah, no, they did.
So
You're
that's
right.
what it was.
That this is kind of that area.
It
Yeah.
was both, it was DMs
Yeah.
and group chats.
Yeah. Sure. Wasn't something I was into massively, but you're right. This era is that era. When I was researching it,
I
it
know
was.
someone who got married by meeting.
Yeah, I do actually. Yeah, something similar. It wasn't that. But it was the online community.
But it wasn't like a dating app or anything like that. That
Yeah.
didn't exist back then. But it was just chat rooms and
Yeah.
people of common interest.
It's very common. Yeah. It moved from America to Britain. The person I know actually.
Well, yeah, Canada to Cyprus.
Okay. So yeah, this was the kind of what we can call the text-based chat evolution 1. Then we had the kind of access to mobile phones, and we started to text on our phones pretty much at the same time. And then we moved on to smartphone evolution. We had the processors get a lot faster. We had more access to internet. So people were developing applications to allow us to communicate more, and we were getting more glued to our phones as a result of this. As things get progressed, we moved on to kind of this chatbot revolution where businesses realized that they could offer value by developing applications that they can integrate into the websites and tap into that kind of, like I said, pre-programmed way we're now communicating, which is they just want instant answers if they can. People are looking for information constantly, and they're quite often ready to buy nowadays. They've done their research beforehand. They might just have small questions. That's all they need to just go ahead with a purchase. They might not want to pick up the phone. They might be busy. Sorry.
Mobile Monkey, is that from MailChimp?
No, it's very similar, isn't it?
Yeah, very similar.
Yeah, no, it's very similar. I think they've tried to tap into that. No, it's a completely separate company. Yeah. Like I said, I've tried Mobile Monkey and ManyChat. I prefer ManyChat personally. I think I dare say it's a better built system. I trust the company a little bit more. I think they're a bit more forward and open with their education systems. You can learn a lot on their website, by the way. So you don't need to necessarily attend training courses or anything. There's a lot of information on their website. Yeah, like I mentioned, we've kind of got this human habit formation. Humans are very easily programmed, and we have become programmed to use short text-based communication methods. The difference here, we have this, we're going to discuss Facebook Messenger more, but the difference between the native chatbot of Drift and Intercom is really just to do, like I mentioned, it's just to do with the sophistication of what you can do. It's really for kind of the native chatbot is more to do with businesses that have really high-powered sales teams, and they're looking at data all the time, and they want to invest in this way of communicating. Facebook Messenger is limited because you do have to have somebody that has a Facebook Messenger. I've kind of deleted my Facebook account this year, and I've opened up one for businesses just to manage people's business accounts and do things that I need to do. But I don't really use Messenger myself a lot, ironically, but it's huge, and I know the power of this. So it's something I looked into 6 months ago, and I realized I was completely missing a channel massively. And it's something that because I've kind of done the full 360 of marketing, I realized it was a weak point and something I really need to pay attention to. So a perfect solution would be a hybrid. So you'd have the ability to do the kind of communications with people on Facebook, but you'd still have the ability to take that data and offer more value via something like Intercom or Drift. But it's just sometimes prohibitive in terms of implementation and cost. But it's the perfect option, ideally. As we've already discussed this, I don't believe email marketing is dead in any shape or form. These chatbot companies will tell you email marketing is dead. They'll give you the statistics that I've given you, very impressive and true, but email marketing is not dead. So don't believe all that. Don't chuck all your eggs in one basket and assume a chatbot's going to fix your communication, open rates and all the rest of it. You need a mixed bag of marketing tools. So yeah, this is an enhancement to your website, and this is what the title of the workshop is. It's about not making your visitors bounce off without taking some action that could potentially build them in as part of your audience. And it's about audience building, really. So again, why use ManyChat? It's the affordable chatbot for B2C. It still can be used for B2B, but it's probably considered a B2C chatbot. The Facebook coziness may look a little bit unprofessional for B2B. It can look a bit like what the hell's a social network doing on my really sophisticated B2B site. Don't worry about it, it doesn't matter. People will still use the Messenger chatbot if that's what they want to use, and if they're comfortable with having it on their personal conversation, even though they might be researching for a business, it's perfectly okay. But they may not want to do that if it's B2B, because they might have their personal channel open and prefer to go through a system like Drift or Intercom. So this is the kind of menus you're going to see when you open. I'll just show you ManyChat as a website, and you'll see a little bit more about, just so you're familiar with it. So this is the site that you see if you went there. So it's just manychat.com. The idea here is get more leads, engage prospects, drive sales. We've got billions of people using Messenger, and there's loads of information on there, and the menu structure and detail is, don't know why that's not loaded, I think the internet's a bit poor in here. But there's training on there, and there's the ability to learn more about Messenger chatbots in general. So I highly recommend you take a look at that. So what I like about this particular tool is on the left-hand side you've got your menu. It's a little bit unclear here, I noticed, but the webinar and the video that I've got on the link that I showed you shows you this in a video. You'll be able to see me going through it. You get a bit more familiar, but like I say, it's free to sign up. So just literally link yourself to Facebook Messenger, get this, it's hardly even a sign up, and you've got this system there in your browser, and you'll be able to look around the menu system. But what we're looking at here is, I'll just show you this area here, growth tools. So we've got widgets, and we're going to build a slide-in CTA. So it's a really rudimentary, simple thing for you to do, but if you've got a case study, an offer, like I said, an offer is a really good thing to have in general for businesses. You can just bring this in, and this can be brought in on the top, on the bottom, on the left, on the right. You can bring it in after a certain page scroll, timing, exit intent. You know what exit intent is? When someone leaves and it pops up and you're like, oh God, something's there, should I take action? It's that. So there's a few options with how you implement this. So we're just going to show you how to do the engagement tool here, which is just engaging to get somebody to subscribe to your bot. This is the kind of menu in Facebook. If you look, you've got Here, messaging. It's worth, I can give you the advice here now, but it could possibly go out of date relatively soon. Facebook, I've just got to warn you, is basically not a technology company, it's a legal company, and it's constantly changing its legal terms and conditions. So it's a nightmare for marketers to always stay up to date with legality. It's very easy for just to be, not scare you, but you can get your page taken down if you're a bit naughty with Facebook. They won't mess about, you won't get to speak to anybody. Adhere to the laws, and there are some kind of, ManyChat I believe are a bit more upfront than Mobile Monkey. I think Mobile Monkey are a bit on the, let's say, the guerrilla side of integrations here, which is why I moved away. I feel ManyChat are probably in more communication with Facebook as a legal team, and I think they're safer to work with, because I don't think they're going to do stuff that's dodgy. I think you'll be safe in their ecosystem. But it's worth, if you're taking control of this, or you have a team, it's worth telling them to spend a few hours getting their head around some of the legalities currently, and making sure they're current. Because we have one feature called Chat Blasts, and in the first 24 hours of somebody subscribing to your chatbot, you can pretty much do as much promoting as you want in that 24 hours. After that, things change dramatically, and you will be slapped, shall we say, by Facebook if you go against that policy. That could change. This is what I'm saying, to just be aware that it's the current state of play, not necessarily the state of play tomorrow. So this is kind of just setting up things in here. It's relatively simple, but you do need to go into here and make sure that these settings in your Messenger platform, in Facebook this is, are set to certain things. Follow ManyChat's guidelines here. It's relatively simple, usually obvious. You can see ManyChat's actually there, that's the icon. And it's just saying that it's got access to the page. Again, there's your Messenger link there. So just showing you areas you've probably not looked in, to be honest, if you don't use Facebook Messenger or go into the sort of settings of your Facebook page. This is the code that you typically install into your Google Tag Manager. Many of you will just put straight into WordPress, no problem there. I'm a bit of a technical geek, so I have Google Tag Manager to manage all my tags, all my pixels. It separates the ability to manage it, and it's the better way to do it, in my opinion. So again, if you just want to if you missed that, that's where to just have a look at the setup of Facebook Messenger. So in ManyChat, here you've got a load of settings here. This is your basic settings. I would highly encourage you just to go through those. There will be some settings there that you can clearly see need a premium account, so you're going to have to pay, I think it's $10 a month generally. It's very, very affordable, and they open up the pro version of ManyChat. Mostly I'd suggest you go with that, but if you don't want to, the free version does give you some pretty cool functionality, which we're going to show anyway. So that's just the greeting text preview, showing you what it looks like when you set the greeting text preview within ManyChat, so you actually see what it looks like on a mobile. One of the first messages you'll want to set up is the welcome message. So it's the pop-up message that you see, and you just decide whether to subscribe, really, actually. You're subscribing once you engage with that. So it's a little bit unusual for the visitor. They don't quite realize what they're doing there, but they're effectively building a connection as soon as that's been done, which is why you want to make that welcome message pretty powerful, and offer's usually a good idea. So it's the first message that they will interact with. If you include several lines of text of your welcome message, consider adding a slight delay. You can actually make it look like it's typing, so it looks a little bit like it's live. Everybody knows it isn't, but it's just a little psychological trick that looks like, instead of the and all this text appearing, you kind of get da-da-da, da-da-da, and it's just a little bit of a human touch to what's kind of a cold conversational platform to some degree. So this is the ManyChat flow section. Complicated, but you have to get your head around this to maximize the benefit of this. So it's worth just taking some time if you're going to implement Messenger and really understanding what this does. You can make the flow and the sequences you can make flows triggered by keywords, sequences that you already built, and you can integrate replies and suggestions for content, links, articles on your website, etc., based on the interaction they've made, the keywords they've done, and the actions that they've taken. Yeah.
Can you use those flows between different chatbots? For example, if you know keywords.
Yeah.
I mean, if you set them up for one website, then use it for another as well.
You'd have to set it up again, but with ManyChat you've got templates actually that you can buy. So you might find that there's a template out there that suits your industry, and you can then just build it, bring it in and tweak it a little bit. It saves you a lot of messing about. It'll tell you what the use case is, it'll tell you what the functionality is, and it might just be a case of slotting in your own offer, slotting in your own web pages, and it kind of works as a pretty cool tool already.
Can you make your own templates?
Yeah. And once you build them, you'll be able to export them as a template. Yeah. So then you bring them in. That would be the way. Yeah, that's the easiest way. So if you want to duplicate the functionality. So what should you include in your welcome message? Just a basic hi, thanking them for just connecting. Background information that you can just tell about your product or service that's perhaps unique and going to make them want to engage further. No one business is the same, so giving options for interacting with your chatbot is often a good idea. Pulling into videos or case studies, I think, is the best way to just basically, implement the simple message of a welcome. So yeah, if you've got content that's high quality, video, podcasts, definitely push them there. So long as it's not on, and this is the other functionality of this, you can actually have different chatbots on different pages. So you can say, I only want this to appear on this page, I only want this to appear on this page. So on a checkout page, you probably don't want to bombard them with a message that's just like hi, because you know that they'll probably test it one way, take it down, see whether your conversions, if nothing else has changed in terms of your traffic, just check whether that's affected things for another 2 months. If it has positively or negatively, choose the positive and re-implement and optimize that. Let's just have a look. So your default reply is basically the fallback option. If a keyword doesn't trigger part of your keyword automated reply, it's just basic and people are happy with that, they're used to that. But one option is to prompt users with a few examples of things they could ask, so you can put links in there if they really don't perhaps understand your business. You can actually put links to suggest articles or content that you know is making people happy and they're helping build your brand and influence your business. So we just discussed this really, based on keywords. Very important that you get your head around that and probably test things. You'll learn a lot about your audience actually from the metrics inside ManyChat. So it's a good thing for learning what people are asking. So perhaps you can sort of make content a bit more prominent on your website because you'll learn what people are typing in. We're going to just look at a quick cool growth tool. I don't know what my time is. Okay, so this is a slide-in CTA. So for your business, anybody can imagine having a CTA for their own business for your sales? Could you have that? Would it be something useful? Do you have anything like that currently, like a pop-up?
No.
No.
We just have a live chat on the website.
Yeah.
For customers when either they're having trouble or when they're actually developing their appointment.
Yeah.
When they're setting up, there's also a live chat there.
Okay, so do you ever do coupon offers or discounts or membership?
We're currently working on a campaign where they're going to get the installation by us instead of doing it themselves at a discounted price.
Okay.
So maybe at some point, that's when I asked if we would put an offer at the...
Would you prefer to take the conversation, let's call it a conversation, would you prefer to take that conversation to a call, for instance?
Yeah, we're integrating calls as well.
So
we were only online, and now we're starting to integrate calling.
Okay, so my point would be for you guys could be to just state that you have this new offer. It's perhaps a pain point that people have had in the past. They might not be aware of that because they're a new client. So what you would do is you would say, we're solving the number one onboarding issue of clients. We're giving you a free consultation or free onboarding. Click this to find the number, or let us call you back and put in your number here. So that would be a good CTA. You know then for a fact that they're really red hot, and you need to have your sales team ready to call that person, because they've seen the value. You're actually helping them with something they didn't even know they had a pain point with. So you kind of just briefly explain that this has been a common issue. We're going to solve it by giving this free service. So that would be a lovely CTA to just have on the website in general. Just tell people that, are you aware, basically. Sorry.
Do you think it's efficient to add the ManyChat just in the Facebook page itself? Because I was trying to add the ManyChat in the Facebook page, but I didn't get many engagement as I was expecting.
To be honest, Facebook pages are rubbish. No one uses them anymore. Facebook's big power right now is groups. So Facebook wants you to pay for advertising and move you to groups. And they're trying to keep you in the Facebook ecosystem by allowing you to embed these on other websites. So you're basically on your phone, back into Messenger, advertising. Thank you very much. So this is how they're closing. Google's doing this right now as well. And two of the big companies in native advertising, Taboola and Outbrain, have just joined forces. So the advertising space is becoming extremely limited. You've got to join the wave, unfortunately, and this is the way it is. But Facebook pages, they're not getting the reach unless you boost them. If you're boosting them, are they really in buyer mode at that time? They're not. They're just looking at some cool posts you put on or some video. So I would look more at developing this, promoting your website. So you've got a lot of benefits there. You've got your pixels on your website, not just Facebook's pixel. So you're able to retarget and remarket in a much more sophisticated way, not just through Facebook, which is still a fantastic platform. So yeah, we're going to just quickly have a look at this one. So we're based in Growth Tools widgets, and what we've got here is a slide-in CTA. You'll see the option. There's quite a few different options for CTAs and kind of these growth tools, but I like the slide-in one particularly. As you can see, you've got the bar at the top, slide-in, page takeover, which will just take over the whole page, and the modal window as well, which is a pop-up. And you have them as embeddable widgets, and you've got your growth tools here as well. So Facebook ads, JSON is, I'm not going to go into this, it's relatively complicated and only available through the Pro account, but very powerful once you get your head around it. But all the rest are available as options to implement that kind of functionality within this slide-in. This is what the basic one will look like when you just test it. So you're just looking at the positioning. So you've got kind of options here, slide in from the right. The button text you can change, all this sizing, you can make that a different color, but I think because it's Messenger, you should probably leave it blue. People are psychologically trained to know what that is. And yeah, your options are here, really, really simple. Just changing your message, changing your text, changing your fonts, changing your size. I don't think you can change the font style, but they can just change the size of the fonts and some of the kind of look and feel. So this is what, this is just a test, to be perfectly honest. It's a client of mine, and we are just testing just a 5% trial. It's really just to see whether this is making engagement. We're going to change the offer completely. But it pops in at the side, it shows you some of the brands that they sell. And it just allows you to click that send to Messenger, and you get your coupon as a return reply, and it's a code. We can change that code whenever. At least he knows when somebody comes into the shop and says, I have the code, it's from that. There's no other way anybody can find that code. So we're just playing with this. Again, that's just with a free ManyChat system, an image and a reply. It's really basic, but all that traffic to this website, paid or not paid, they all get to see this. It's an incentive for somebody to choose this business over somebody else.
Is there a flow?
Not for
select that flow?
Not for that one.
For ManyChat?
Yeah, you can build flows, yeah.
So how much are your prices? When are you open?
That's,
so there would be responses.
Yeah, for sure. There's based sometimes on keywords, which sets off sequences and flows.
Right.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You have to spend some time with this. It's as complex or simple as you want. That's simple, relatively powerful. But what you're saying is the proper conversational marketing. That's also available. But I think it's more of a learned process as well to know what words you might think you know what words your audience are using, but they might be completely different to what they're really using. They might be different for different languages and different regions. So it takes management if you're going to do it in a more sophisticated way. Don't expect it to just run and everything's absolutely perfect from day one. You've got to look at it and work with it. If that makes sense. Try and make your offer visual. One of the things I did there was just to put in some key brands. I know they're high margin for the client. I know that they're in demand. I know that they're not easy to get in Cyprus because of the import and exports, not that. People don't have a lot of stock sometimes for these companies. So try and make your text readable, keep it short. People like just punchy statements, value. Don't make them read an opus on your quality of your food or anything like that. And bring them back to a landing page if you can, so they can claim the offer, or just at least, ideally bring them to a landing page so you can just see a conversion, perhaps in your own conversion metrics if you're using analytics. And then, so some of the other features here. So ManyChat can be used as your live chat platform. So you can get your kind of team, your sales team or your customer service team to just have this logged up. They can get the pop-ups, the notifications on the browser, and this can be the way that they communicate. It's probably a really good way, to be honest. It's something I would highly advise you do if you're in particularly your industry, or perhaps the real estate industry as well. My client is an extremely he used to be an IT consultant, but he literally barely picks up the phone now, so I think he's been completely jaded by IT. But I'm literally having to tell him to buy a smartphone so he can actually maximize the impact of what he's getting. Because he knows he needs it, but he knows he can't act on it if he doesn't have a smartphone and message on Facebook. So he's really like, just do this stuff for me, and I will do my best to maximize what benefit I know I can get here. But it's ideal if you're connected, and if you're in an office and you have a business that has sales and marketing and customer service, get somebody to have their browser tab open constantly and just make sure that they're able to communicate and use their live chat facility. It's pretty good. So it's just like a messenger system. Broadcasts, this is a dangerous one, and you can fall foul of Facebook's rules here, but like for the first initial 24 hours you're able to do these broadcasts and chats. You are also able to do this, but it's something that I'm going to cover in the webinar because it's a little bit more complicated. It's also very powerful. Again, the automation is key to things, which we know about. So this is the 24-hour rule that not many people know about until they start learning about Facebook Messenger. It's currently 24 plus 1. Pro features. This is Facebook Ads JSON, which is a kind of language. It allows you to convert users who click on a Facebook Messenger ad into bot subscribers immediately without having to message your page. So you're effectively building the audience. I'm kind of now realizing that Facebook's just completely trapped us. We have our email list, which again I believe is still good, especially if you're delivering good content and you're not too spammy, and you've given value and your customers are engaged. But this is about Facebook audience building. So once you've got the pro version of this, you're able to effectively communicate to the people by allowing them to click an ad. That ad could go somewhere else. It doesn't necessarily have to come to your page. It could go to an article, it could go to a podcast. But because they've clicked that particular ad and you've paid for this feature and you've implemented, a little bit technical, but you've implemented the JSON coding, that guy's a subscriber. They don't really know it, but they've subscribed to your bot at that time. So you're able to do the 24 plus 1 promotions. This can get into the kind of spammy stroke, be careful, but sophisticated marketers are doing this extremely well and benefiting from it in that short window. So this messenger codes can be scanned. I'm not somebody who gets this right now. I don't do much scanning. I don't know about you guys. Do you scan anything? I don't scan anything. I do I don't use it. So maybe it's going to become a feature that people use later, but I don't currently see the real world examples of it. Some general tips: you don't need to answer straight away, but I'd recommend within 24 hours for most people. If it's a sales call, a sales funnel, or a kind of sales sequence, get on it as soon as you possibly can, especially if you're a regional person and you know. But you've got these time periods where people won't, if it's after 10 o'clock, people will not appreciate a phone call. So you've got to know if you're international, what time zones people are coming from, and blah, blah. But basically 24 hours to reply isn't ridiculous. Again, your 24-hour chat blast is, can you really maximize that? Chunk long messages into sections and use video and graphics. Observe how other companies use it. I would always spend a little bit of time going to your competitors, especially if you know they've got a Facebook chatbot on there. Go back every 2 months, see what they're doing, see whether they've got some cool ideas that you can steal. Why not? So just keep an eye, keep a track of who's got it in your niche, and just go back and see whether they're doing anything interesting. The way to do this properly, if you're not technical, find a chatbot implementation company. I really would advise you to do that generally. And if you like to learn, look for a good course, which I'm actually developing, but it's not ready. But I would suggest you to maximize this, you've got to invest some time. Somebody's got to invest time. It isn't just plug and play. Don't waste your time plugging and playing. Just don't bother. If you're not going to invest time into doing something that's a little bit more sophisticated, move on to some other channel, really, I would suggest, because it's powerful, but you do have to put that little effort in just to maximize the benefits. So I've got a podcast coming that I hope you guys might be interested in, potentially, if you listen to podcasts at all. I've got a couple of guests here that I really like. This guy wrote a good book called Hooked. This is about how we're kind of all hooked to applications. He's very much into user psychology, so I'm interviewing that guy next week. And this guy, Rand Fishkin, is an SEO expert, probably one of the top in the world. I'm speaking to this guy as well. I love this guy. He's very honest about his business struggles. He's basically crap in business, but good in idea generation and making money. But he's had a kind of tough time. So my podcast is going to be a little bit different to typical marketing podcasts. It's going to be about growth. To be honest, entrepreneurs struggle in many, many ways, and I want to just tap into that kind of daily struggle that people have, rather than constant success that people talk about, which is just dream world. So yeah, that's what's happening. That's my website, if anybody wants to land on that one. And like I said, if you just want to go here and sign up, I'll be doing a webinar soon, and it'll go into more detail on this, because it's a pretty huge topic, and potentially invite you to an early stage course on this, a proper course, a detailed course that I'm looking to develop as well. So yeah, that's it. Any questions at all? Do you think you're going to be doing this? Do you think you will be implementing it? Yeah?
It's a must.
Yeah, I think so. Okay.
So it was interesting that you said from your experience, the best chatbot that you use, so you can start from this one.
Yeah, why not?
Look for it.
Yeah.
And and you said that they have information in their site also.
I think they're really good. Yeah, you can do it all. You don't need to do a course, because they kind of have a course there. But it's one of those, do it properly. Don't do little bits. So, but all the information's there. They're very good with that. Yeah. Any questions, Tom?
For ManyChat and Facebook, so the customer can be on our Facebook page and click on Messenger, and the chatbot will take over as
yeah, you can have that still, Facebook controlling that on there, or ManyChat doing the whole lot. So you can have ManyChat open, and anybody who came on your Facebook page will be, let's say, managed from your ManyChat live chat function.
Can ManyChat be integrated, for example, with our live chat? So we can have one feed coming and answering to that.
Maybe there's some. I've just bought live chat, which is actually system that pulls in Twitter and Facebook.
Okay?
Does it do Facebook?
Because
Yes, it does.
Ideally, it would be to have one system where we could integrate our live chat
Yeah, no,
and
I
all the
agree.
social media
Yeah.
messages trickle.
I wish I had the
down.
answer, and I don't think you're going to get the 100% solution right now, but I reckon in 2 years' time,
Yeah.
you might. But Facebook, they don't want you not to be on Facebook.
But it would
So-
definitely be linked to the Facebook.
I know,
mean,
I know.
without Facebook, it would be the interaction that's coming from Facebook, from Instagram,
Yeah.
and whatever other socials like Twitter or LinkedIn to be answering, but on one platform. So that way
Yeah.
we could have one agent focused on one stream.
There's other
There's-
tools for that.
There's Live Agent. If you just check Live Agent, it's actually it is a really good tip, by the way. Go to a website called appsumo.com, AppSumo, and what these guys do is it's run by a guy called Noah Kagan, who I love. He's an awesome guerrilla marketer, and he's basically set this business up, and it's a marketplace for early stage businesses and some relatively new businesses who want to basically beta test new releases or their own product, and they offer lifetime deals. Some of the products are relatively mature and you can like get them for 50 quid forever, and sometimes they're 99 quid a month. But they've got Live Agent on there right now. I think that I don't think it does Messenger, but it's relatively good for managing different channels. But
Yeah, I mean, we use something else, so we use other applications to schedule our
Yeah.
posts and all that, but it's really for the socials to be connected with the chat that we have.
yeah, I
on the-
understand, yeah. I don't think you're going to get a 100% solution just now, but maybe it will happen. Yeah, Facebook are funny in how much you can integrate with them. Because obviously they're a little bit controlled. So you had a question?
Yeah, so I clearly understand the need to have this as serving, let's say, being available for your consumer and being there for them in an omni-channel sort of way. And I see the added value in this. However, I don't see how this could contribute to a KPI. Let's say, how could I measure, let's say, fund growth, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Can I?
Yeah, of course you can. It depends how you promote. If you're promoting it, you want to look at the engagement rates of that. You're looking at maybe downloads that are related to. You could put them to certain pages where you can track conversions there. So you could perhaps only put. I'm trying to think of some KPIs. What kind of KPIs do you typically monitor at the moment? Because there's loads of KPIs out there.
Right. I mean, it depends. As example, let's say
You've got statistics in here, by the way, ManyChat, lots of them.
right, but they track, let's say, the conversation. Mostly for me, it's customer service, no?
Yeah, I would imagine for yourself it's customer service, yeah. I guess what you could, for customer service, have you got kind of I don't really deal with customer service, to be perfectly honest, but I suppose like a KPI that you could maybe roughly work with is satisfaction. So maybe you've got, if people work via that particular chat and you say, can I get a feedback please at the end of it, you can push them to the feedback thing and work out whether...
But that is a KPI relative to that operation, right?
Yeah.
But how can I use this tool to contribute to other marketing campaigns? You know what I mean? Or even sales. Sales, yeah.
You can integrate Stripe and PayPal in, for instance, so you could take payments on there if you wanted to. So if you've got certain offers and you have a conversation, and perhaps I don't think it's going to work perfectly for your business, but you could actually build a product bespoke via a conversation and put a link in to pay for that product, which is a pro plan. Stripe and PayPal are currently integrated in there, so it's any KPI you currently monitor, you can pretty much do in here. I'm convinced of it, because you can push adverts to your chatbot. You can, you can monitor most KPIs and be a bit creative with what you define as a KPI, I suppose. But customer service, unfortunately for me, I can't give an easy example. Any more questions, John?
I have, but not about it.
Go for it. I'm just answer away. I've usually got an answer.
The podcast.
Yeah.
Which podcast?
I'm going to be launching it. I'm just working with a company called Captivate FM, who a friend of mine started back in Yorkshire in England. He's the podcast guy. They integrate everything, so Stitcher, iTunes, I'll be on them all, SoundCloud, and I will use Captivate FM. Sorry, I'll use Captivate FM to manage that content and distribute it. So, yeah, do you use podcasts?
No, but so many podcasts are reaching me. And,
Yeah. How are they reaching you, out of curiosity?
I don't know because I don't use them, but this is like Messenger and podcast that I am not using. So
Right,
I need
okay.
to get into this.
Oh, Apple, are you on Apple?
I don't have.
Okay, because Apple have just, podcasts has become their thing now rather than iTunes. They're killing iTunes. So podcasts for Apple is still the biggest one. I'm pretty sure you can download podcasts for Apple on an Android. So a lot of people use that one. I don't listen to a lot of podcasts myself. I just know it's a huge channel like you, so it's a new thing for me. I like to talk. I like to give advice. People seem to be really loving podcasts. It's on the growth for thought leadership.
I love it.
Yeah.
I use it a lot.
Yeah. What do you use?
Podcast, Apple.
Apple Podcasts, yeah.
There's a lot of NPR channels.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I switched from Spotify music to
Yeah.
podcasts and
So you've gone from Spotify there.
Yeah.
I've done that for different reasons, but yeah.
I use Spotify for music, but
Yeah.
you know, when you drive, I used to listen to music, now switch to
Podcasts. Yeah, they seem to be growing and growing and growing. It's quite interesting how we've gone back to effectively radio from so much ability to have this crazy content, visual content. We've just gone, I just want mono, I just want
But
some
we
audio.
choose our content now.
We do, yeah. But
Instead of radio.
Right.
Yeah, it's not radio, I know, but it's
Right.
effectively the spoken word, you know,
Yeah.
but on demand. Again, this is the thing, the world's on demand now.
The podcast is rising because we multitask and we can do something with our hands
Yeah.
while we are educating ourselves.
Yeah, true, it is, yeah.
I have another question.
Mm.
Because you make a podcast about startups.
Mm.
What are the startups for you? Because many people use it for all the businesses that start, but the
Yeah.
IT guys, they speak that there is no startup if you don't have innovation inside. What is
A
it for
startup,
you?
in my opinion, is anybody who's starting a business, to be
So
perfectly
it
honest. I
became more
don't.
general.
I think there's kind of, you're in fintech, so yeah. So there's this kind of assumption that industry is just a startup world, and it is. It's full of
It
startups.
came
It's-
from there.
It's come really from VC capital, and where you get high growth. Usually people come in and they sell out relatively quickly and they make their money and da da da. But you know, let's be honest, anybody who's starting a business is a startup. They all go through pretty similar things. A lot of them are learning by themselves. They have their skill set. This is what I struggle with. They have their skill set, and then they enter the business world and they're not business people. So this is what I want to touch on. It's motivation, it's focus, it's productivity, it's building relationships outside of your own current field. So they're the areas I'm going to be touching on, which I've struggled with over 10 years to grow,
It's
actually
very
grow.
good because business people were on, because this is something that we can learn.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very good to listen to the podcast now.
Yeah, it is. No, it is. And I'm not really interested in necessarily the marketing side. I will speak to people that are interested on that, but I really want to learn the little golden nuggets that people have learned on the way to success. If I just go back, this book here, I highly recommend. I've just bought it, but I know it's going to be good. It's called Lost and Founder, and it's about how he set up Moz. Moz.com was an SEO, let's say it's an SEO company, for want of a better word, but he really kind of had great success but didn't know how to really manage the company. He wasn't a very good business person, so he suffered depression, anxiety, all the rest of it. It melted him down, and he's now just really honest about that as a person. So And a lot of people in the business world, I've noticed this last year, they're coming out about the fact that they've struggled, that life isn't easy, and it looks easy, but it's not, and it's the soft skills that they've learned on the way that have really helped them, that certain relationships that they've found with people, mentors, or whatever it might be. So yeah, thank you very much. I think that's our time up, as far as I know.